just wrapped up. This is Freetrail's coverage of one of North America's premier short distance trail events, and what an amazing weekend it has been. My name is Dylan Bowman, joined as usual by Corrine Malcolm. Corrine, good afternoon.
Howdy. I was out on course, thought I was going to die, didn't even run the race distance. What an amazing feat by everyone
We all
out there.
got a good training stimulus in today, chasing around some of these champion athletes with various digital devices and to scream and yell and cheer. But
yeah, I broke a 6:15-minute mile out there, so I feel pretty good about myself.
That is
big
proper.
inspo. Also joining us, Tim Tollefson. Tim, good to see you, buddy.
Great to see you guys.
How was your training stimulus today?
It was amazing. My highlight, no offense, was the kids' race. There was a banana boy out there taking over for Seidel. I was pumped to see it, but the kids were strutting.
Dude, let me tell you what, Rhodes Bowman is going to be the Patrick Kipyego of the 2025 Broken Arrow Kids race, okay? I'm calling it now. Anyway, welcome to our coverage here today. Again, Corrine, Tim, with us all weekend and going into next week with Western States. And we are joined by 2 out of the 3 from the women's podium. In second place, Jade Belzberg from San Luis Obispo. Jade, you can grab that mic, say hello to your fans in the audience here.
Hello.
And also joining us is Tabor Hemming from Kremling, Colorado.
Yeehaw, everybody.
Yeehaw. And what a battle you two had. But maybe first, Jade, we'll just start with you. You've had an awesome season. Nick, who's your partner in the audience here, posted something that was really special and heartfelt. I'm a sentimental guy, like to cry on the show and stuff, but said something to the effect of, he was admiring the fact that you're willing to jump in the VKs. You've got big range, short distance, middle distance, long distance. Here you are pulling together 2 really solid performances this weekend. Anything you want to say about your preferred distances in general, or expand on Nick's post from the other day?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning what my favorite distance is. This year, I just wanted to jump into more competitive races and to be less afraid to kind of put myself in the mix. Canyon's 100K was rough. This was a lot more fun, honestly, so I think that I'm liking these sub-ultra distances. And I like climbing. I loved the VK. Yeah, I think I'm going to be going shorter for the next little while.
We love to hear that. That gets us very, very excited. I know that you are retooling maybe some of your season, potentially, but we do know that coming up you've got, because you have dual citizenship,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, so you're going to Canadian mountain running nationals that will be at the Squamish 50K.
Yep.
Walk us through kind of progression from now to Squamish, and also, what you might be excited to dabble in post getting through that 50K.
Yeah, I'm also signed up for the Cirque Series Snowbird race.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then Pikes Peak
Which
Ascent.
is the U.S. Mountain Running Championship for the year,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
She's
Yeah.
like, how many different championship podiums can I be on in one season for all of North America?
Yeah, and then Pikes Peak after that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't have
The
a lot
Ascent or the marathon?
The Ascent, yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in myself at altitude. I thought that this would go terribly today because the VK was quite rough, and I've lived at sea level my entire life. So Nick and I have been trying to figure out how to spend a month up in Colorado to actually get acclimated. Yeah. So hopefully that can happen before Pikes Peak.
I mean, that is pretty remarkable to finish second here today coming from sea level. I mean,
Thanks.
I'd have to do a deeper analysis of the top 10 positions across all 3 of the premier events, VK, 46K, 23K, but my guess is there's very few people living at sea level who are competing for podium positions here this weekend.
Yeah.
Any
I can see
any
why.
tips and tricks? I mean, it seems like, there's part of it is nature versus nurture, right? Like some people are just naturally good at altitude. Some people do, the standard go up a couple weeks early. Did you split the difference at all?
No, I mean, we got here on Thursday. We have a lot of animals, so it's kind of hard to figure out how to get pet care for them to be able to get up to altitude early. I don't think I'm naturally good at altitude. Growing up, I fainted walking around in Aspen. I fainted walking around Salt Lake City at the zoo. I'm not great at it, but I'm trying to build as much fitness as I can, and hopefully that overrides any natural issues I have.
Yeah, those natural issues were not on display today, is how I would describe your performance. So congratulations. We're happy to see you maybe at some higher races.
Yeah.
Mr. Mammoth Trail Fest director.
Mammoth isn't too far from slow.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That's true.
Actually, I did have, just seeing you crush out there, it made me think, you've been public or open about some mental health struggles over the years, which we appreciate. And I know one thing that you've shared is kind of a fear of flying or even falling. And I have to imagine when you got to the summit of this mountain and you're looking over the valley, finish line's nearly 3,000 feet below, there had to have been some point where you had to just commit that, hey, I'm going to send this. You moved from third into second, down a technical descent. Was there anything that you told yourself, or was there a moment that you had to kind of face a fear and just say, hey, I'm going to go for it, or anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I've never really done a mantra before. I've always written it off as being kind of cheesy. And Nick told me this morning, and I changed it a little bit because he said nice husband things like, you're amazing, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, and that wasn't really helpful in the context of this race. So I changed it to, I am brave, I am courageous, I am strong, I am kind. And I just kept saying that to myself over and over anytime I started feeling doubtful, and anytime I thought that I was going to kill myself on some of those technical trails. And yeah, I feel like it worked.
I mean, you did close the gap even on Joyce. I mean, when I saw Taber coming over high camp in second place, you were less than 60 seconds behind her. I think probably 4 minutes behind Joyce at that point. It was 37 seconds. At the end, you must have been flying.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I was closing, because at the last aid station, I was told.
Taber can confirm Jade was moving very fast.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a surprise to me, because I thought there's no way I'm catching Joyce. Maybe I can catch Taber. I think I was a minute behind her at that point. And yeah, I guess my legs carried me through.
In the money in a big way. We love it.
Oh, indeed. And I mean, you've been around for a decade in the trail space. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
2014.
And as they were mentioning, you've raced 100 milers, 100Ks, VKs, 23Ks. I mean, objectively, this is probably your most impressive result in a competitive field. I know you've gotten, was it second at AC 100 and one San Diego 100?
Yeah.
But does this make you, I know you kind of mentioned, but do you think the 100 milers are kind of overrated? Maybe you should just stick to the sub ultra and
yes.
you get to walk
100%.
normally the next day, and maybe you could race twice in 1 weekend.
Yeah, and I can get back to training and I feel good, and 100%.
More to the dark side. Yeah. Better side.
Yeah, speaking of the dark side, to Taber here, I mean, the Hemming household is known for making some interesting race decisions, for maybe overloading their calendar. I think last year you were going from here to Marathon de Mont Blanc to Mount Marathon, like a three-peat sort of challenge.
It sounded really good in our heads.
So walk us through kind of making some different choices this year, as far as hopefully putting yourselves in even better positions to perform really optimally at the big A goals.
Yeah, Eli and I are really impulsive, and we always tell people that we can get taught into things super easy when there's
Can confirm.
a race. And then you do a race and you're like, I'm never doing that again. Then people are like, you want to do this race? We're like, yeah, sure. It's like Dory, short-term memory for sure. And last year, I don't know, we bit off more than we could chew, and I think we just overcommitted, and it just was watering down performances. And maybe that doesn't look like it on paper for people. They're like, I don't know, you did pretty well, but it's we felt like we could do a better job. And so we made a commitment to each other. At the beginning of the year, we don't write goals, we write things we want to do. And there's a range of things we want to do. Some of it's just I want to climb the Boulder Flatiron. And then other things is I want to do or win X race. But one of the commitments that we said we wanted to do was be smart in our race calendar. And so we're being more intentional about this year and not doing, they're not stupid, but it's fun. But we're just, not letting the impulses get the best of us and hoping that'll create some better race performances.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds, too.
No.
There's a lot of great opportunities. There's a lot of amazing races internationally. You could spend 12 months a year on the road, but to perform at the highest level, as you and Eli have been, you do have to pick your spots. You were saying a few things in the press conference about how after the VK where you suffered, still had a solid day, but I think you felt pretty terrible. How can you not in a VK? Let's be honest. But you sort of weren't sure what to expect here in the 23K. Turned out to be an amazing podium performance for you, and another great result for the 2024 season. Speak a little bit about the doubt and how you think you turned it around between Friday and Sunday.
Yeah, I was like really hard on myself, and I knew like there was a reason for it, but like it can't help make you think like, wow, is training like actually going that bad? Like I just got throttled. And so it was actually really nice to have Eli, like he's my voice of reason. And he's like, Taber, like, look at the story. I know, like, I have this thing that I had a college coach, and he was always told me that no one cares. No one cares the excuse. No one cares about, like, what's the backstory, because everyone has something going on in their life. And he's like, but I care. And I'm like, thanks. Like, the husband thing. I was like, okay, I just kind of need you to tell me to suck it up. But, like... And so I think what gave me a good race today is I just took off any expectation of what would happen. And I was like, I'll just see what the day gives me and just turn my mind off and hurt. And I know I'm pretty darn good at hurting, but usually my head gets in the way of that. And so I think today was a good example of like getting back to what I know I'm good at. And yeah, obviously not flying down hills right now, but like.
Talk about the moment of the pass. Were there any words exchanged? Jade, you know, you were obviously charging from behind and probably in predator hunter mode. Taber, you're probably sort of maybe looking over your shoulder a little bit.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was like trying to listen for people cheering, and I was like, are they cheering for a dude? Are they cheering for Jade? And then when the pass happens, like I just kind of knew she was moving at such a faster rate than I was, and like my back was like totally seizing up, and I was like, but no offense, you, like, my back's seizing up, but you were also hauling. Like, I don't think anyone could have kept up with you on that last downhill, and I think that showed with, like, you putting that much time into Joyce, like, that was so impressive, but I was definitely in, like, panic mode that last, like, 2 miles. I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, don't fall, I'm like, oh, and then she caught me, and I was like, you're moving faster, go for it. Like,
so on that note, Travis read my mind. He posted in the chat here. I just want to share it with the panel here. He said, Jade ran 6:27 minute mile average from high point to the finish, closing the gap from 3.5 minutes to 37 seconds. We sort of already stated that. Jade, give us your side of the story, the pass overtaking
Straight
Taylor
flying.
for second place.
Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't sure that I could catch Taber at first because I was told like, oh, she's like, I think 2 minutes ahead at the top, something like that, and that just sounded inconceivable to me. And I think I've had a long-standing belief that I'm not good at running downhills, so I thought, okay, I have to make up as much time as I can on the climb and just try to hang in there for the descent. So my mind was just focused the whole time on like, don't let Allie or Danny catch me, who I know are both great descenders. And I kept thinking like, okay, as many people as I can put between me and Allie and Danny, the better. And so, like I was trying to chase down the different guys, and then Taber was yet another person I could put between me and Allie and Danny.
kind of like gave me away.
Yeah, it was funny.
See you.
I took the tram down from the top, and we could see Joyce coming down the last couple switchbacks on the dirt road, and we were looking for Taber, and I was like, oh, the hair is the dead giveaway. But then I saw your red hat in front of Taber. I was like, I think that's Jade coming down the tram. I was like, we got the best seat in the house. This is amazing.
Yeah, when we were at the top of Shirley and we got to see all the women come through there, which was amazing. At that point in time, I think that might have been. Could you see her in Shirley, or did you finally get that? Did you actually see?
Yeah, I saw you right at the top. You were maybe
I looked back
two
and
switchbacks ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, were you able like at that point? Because I was giving splits to everyone because I'm a very unbiased cheerer, it turns out. And I remember both of you coming through, and I remember telling Taber, hey, like Joyce has opened it up, but you've got Jade and Allie who are really close together behind you, so you got to go. And then you came through, and I was like, well, Taber's right there.
Right.
And like Allie's just behind you, so you also got to go. So it was really like the race dynamics within the women's top 5 was so exciting. Were you guys feeding off of that out there, or were you
entirely.
completely unaware?
No, yeah, entirely. Like I could see Allie like the whole climb up. I was like, okay, I have to take advantage of as much as I can run, the better, because she's coming.
Yeah, I think like it was such a fun day because you just were like running to catch people and then also running scared. So like, I don't think there was ever a moment in the race that I was like, I'm just chilling. It's like, I'm going and I'm kind of scared who's behind me and I'm just trying to catch who's in front of me.
I got to say, it was so fun and wild to just be up there watching you guys race. The men's race was also incredible. We'll get to that in a little bit.
We missed being on the live call this year, but honestly, being out there was very fun.
It was just very cool. Tim, I feel like we've been hogging the mic, bro.
You guys do such an amazing job. I just like having a front row seat to this trailgating. Jade, you were talking about that, and I hope that this gives you some confidence because, the saying is, confidence comes from competency, and you demonstrated like a world-class descending clinic out there, and hopefully you can take that into your next races. And to your point about running between people, running from people, we're not going to get that in 100 milers, so I think that I'm going to keep nudging you. I think maybe we should keep on these sub-hubs. And but yeah, massive congratulations out there. That was amazing, both of you. Yeah.
Taber, we already sort of covered what Jade is up to throughout the rest of the summer. You want to just give your fans a sense of where they can see you next?
Yeah, I think Eli and we're staying for Western for our first ever experience. We're going to do some pacing.
Be careful.
Cool. I know, I'm more worried about Eli because I think he's going to get a taste. He's like, I like this.
Yes.
You got to work up to this. But then we're going to be out at Snowbird doing some commentating instead of racing. And then you're going to see us at Speed Goat, but we're going to be smart, and we're only going to do the 28K because the big goal this year is OCC, and so we think that's a great course for us, and so we're really like putting that. And then we're going to do a fun double and kind of let the reins loose and go do the rut, followed up by Mammoth Trail Fest.
Hey,
yeah, we're going to do a nice little road trip from Montana down, and then we're going to finish the season off probably going by Cape Town.
It's so funny you starting our broadcast here today, saying you guys are going to be smarter, like a more subdued race schedule.
Did you
both
look at
already
our
raced like
last year?
It's true. That is fair.
No Sierras at all though this year. It sounds like.
No, I have some PTSD from that race,
Yeah.
so I need like a couple of years. Eli had it 2 years ago. He's like, we're not going back. And then last year I was like, can we please go back? And he's like, no. And I'm like, please. And he's like, okay. And then we went back and I had a terrible race. And I'm like, we're not going back.
It sounds like a really smart race. You got a smart season planned out through OCC, and then it's like once OCC is done, it seems like, yeah, you guys are releasing the reins, and that's kind of when all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Well, you guys
I find it fascinating also that I love that you acknowledge the impulsivity that you both have and you want to do everything. It's hard to say no. But then, if I remember correctly, you guys also are self-coached, correct?
We
so
are.
Are you each other's sounding boards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is in your mind, can you acknowledge the potential danger there that these two very excited, charismatic people that say yes to everything are also the sounding board for the other one?
Yeah, we definitely have to take step backs here and there and be like, okay, is that the smartest decision? But I think it works too, like being self-coached, like by each other, just because like we know who each other are and we can see each other day to day. So like if we look really tired, one of us can be like, hey, do you really think
Hey,
that
honey, you do
tempo-
not look very good.
Yeah, maybe you should have some ice cream. Like sit on the couch, put your feet up. It's like, really? Okay. No, but so I think that's super helpful. And that's, I think, what's been something that we've really liked. And also just like the flexibility of where we live, like we want to be able to do random things with weather dependency. And so it kind of helps us do that.
Brad.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you both. What an awesome race, and especially the competition between the two of you and the sportsmanship displayed at the finish. Joyce couldn't join us, but we chatted with her on Friday, the three of you comprising the women's podium here today. It was a spectacle for all of us trail fans. We appreciate the hard work and entertainment you put on the course today. We appreciate you sitting with us on the show. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Big round of applause for the women's podium. Okay, so we've got Eli Hemming and Taylor Stack, I think, still in studio
too, if you want him.
Oh, and Mika's here too. We could bring Mika up. You want to? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Come hang out?
Yeah, come hang out.
Congratulations, dude. So good. I'm so excited to watch you race this year. Thank you. Yeah.
How many animals do you have right now? And your match has been...
While we're doing this quick transition here. just a little run of show. After we have the men's podium or the men's top 5 conversation here, we'll go through the deeper results. Then we're going to have Thomas Neuberger from Believe in the Run on set with us. We're going to talk to Brendan Madigan, the race director of Broken Arrow, before we wind down for the weekend. So we still got a lot of action here on today's show. Don't go anywhere. Speak of the devil, Eli Hemming. We've just been chatting about you nonstop.
Micah,
Taylor Stack, Micah, we are live on YouTube.
Yeah, come join us, boys.
Oh, this is going to be
The next gen.
This is going to be fun.
The next gen.
Micah, I hate to laugh at you, buddy.
Welcome to the Lion's Den.
Hate to laugh at you, but when you're 24 years old and you're limping around, you know, I can laugh at you. You'll shake it off much quicker than a 38-year-old
my
dude will.
goodness.
But yes, trekking
Yeah,
balls.
it's coming back
That
around.
didn't age well, did it?
Yeah, good callback to the Friday broadcast. All right, so just to introduce our panelists here. Introducing our panelists here. Next to Tim Tollefson, our second place finisher today, Eli Hemming from Kremlin, Colorado, the husband of Tabor. We've been talking about him here for the last 20 minutes or so. Next to Eli, one of the stories of the day, Taylor Stack from Salida, Colorado. Can't wait to chat with you, get to know you a little bit. And then next to Taylor, Meikael Beaudoin-Rousseau, 2 top 5 finishes between the VK and the 23K for both Eli and Micah here this weekend. So maybe starting with you, Eli, you were pretty much the only dude who could match Patrick today. When I saw you up at High Camp, he probably had, it was 1 minute and 50 seconds. The closing margin was 1 minute and 23 seconds. So you ate into him in the second half of the course. Give us the short version of your race report.
Yeah, you know, anytime you're racing Patrick, you know you're going to be trying to chase him down. And I kind of knew the only chance I had at beating him today was keeping him as close as possible and then trying to just bomb the downhill. So that's what I tried. Turns out he's gotten a lot better at downhill recently and did what I could, but still, just he was just a class act today.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Taylor.
Tim was looking at Taylor's college stats, so I'm wondering if
I have
he's
speed goggles now with Taylor.
Ooh.
I mean, I really like Eli. I love my boy over there in the Brooks hat. But Taylor, is it true you're a sub 14 5K runner and sub 8 3K runner?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
So
yeah.
for our
Verified.
non-track fans out there, that is blazing fast. That puts him in the category of Jim Walmsley, Hayden Hawks, a number
Ever
of other
heard of
guys.
him?
I don't know.
Ever heard of him?
Who are those guys?
Yeah.
I actually did go sub 14 pre-super shoes, which is
that's
Okay.
That's
one
a
of my
flex.
greatest achievements. I
Big
think.
flex.
So
25
Taylor,
years old from Salida, Colorado.
yeah. So you have tools, and you were also on the mountain running team for Western. Is that correct?
I was on the NCAA team at Western.
Okay.
So slightly different, but
Yeah.
we ran together with some of those guys
Okay.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
All right, so who the hell are you, bro? Give us a little bit of your story. I mean, obviously you turned a lot of heads today. When we were up at High Camp, all right, we see Patrick come through, we see Eli come through, we see Philemon come through, and then we're like, who's this guy?
I was like, who's this guy? We're like, okay, Nike split shorts. What is it? Like a
Were you wearing a cotton shirt?
No, it's synthetic, yeah. And the
I-
shorts, actually, those are the old uniform shorts from Western, which
Love
is
it.
funny. So
We're like, who is this guy? Yeah, so I guess that's the burning question on all of our minds. Educate us.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I grew up in Salida and then went over to Gunnison for college and had a pretty fun running career over there. Then I graduated and kind of took some low-key time, a little bit of running, but mostly just liking to get outside on the trails and stuff. And then I got a graduate position at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, which is where I live now. And I'm doing fisheries biology research, which is super fun.
Do you know Becca Wendell?
Yes.
She's running Western States in a week.
Yeah, I saw. She crushed it at Canyons. Yeah.
Is that the School of Natural Resource Management? Because I know
Yeah.
that's a big deal at CSU, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty awesome program over there. So having a good time with that. But yeah, I've had a lot of freedom to kind of get my thesis work done on my own time. So I've been able to start training more seriously over the last year, which is sweet. And it's been really fun, and just getting out on the trails and having a good time. So
I think I heard you say in the press conference that you did the VK on Friday, but it was a kick in the pants. You want to tell the people about that?
yeah, I was kind of going into this expecting to really go for it in the VK and then just do whatever in the 23. And then I just felt, oh man, it was just brutal. I think I went out too hard and just didn't feel good for a single second of that VK. It got 13th, so could be worse in that field. And then, so yeah, that kind of wrecked my confidence a bit going into today, but I was just like, I'm just going to go out there, and I felt really good at the start, and it felt right, so I just rolled with it.
Amazing. Micah, let's bring you into the convo here. You're limping around. The knee, I know, has been bugging you. We talked about it on Friday.
But he hurt the other knee today.
Oh, it's the other knee?
Yeah,
Which
hurt,
I honestly,
hurt
I'm going to say that's a blessing. It's better to hurt the other knee because it was 100% to start with. Now it dropped a little bit. The other one was already on its way up. We want to keep that one on.
We neutralized it.
Now.
Yeah, you're balanced.
So just give us the story of your day and what's going on with your leg there.
Yeah, so I took a fall in the single track going down. Never fallen during a race before, and it happened twice today, which was...
I will argue you fall across the finish line a lot.
That's true. That's different, though. But yeah, I just haven't done a lot of downhill running or even like flat running. I've only done one flat workout before this race, and so I knew my my downhill legs and my footwork might not be like what they usually are, and as expected, it maybe wasn't what I was hoping for, but super happy to have gridded out to the finish and still finished in the top 5.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to your dedication with the cross training, kept your fitness. You've maintained that. You showed it in the VK, but there's specificity lacking when you're cross training like that. You don't get the roots in the rocks, and your trail savviness just isn't there. But I think this is an incredibly impressive result. Or considering everything and the lack of trail time you've had this season.
Oh, totally, and I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, I very much knew coming into this weekend that I was not 100% fitness-wise, that I did not have the gears that I usually have. But I mean, trail running is my favorite thing in the world, and racing is my favorite part of that. And so I just wanted to come here and give it my all, and I knew that I would have a good time regardless of the result.
It's got to give you a lot of confidence to finish 3rd in the VK, 5th here today when you're not in top Micah form.
Yeah, definitely. It makes assuming it can get healthy, it makes the rest of the summer very exciting.
So I missed seeing you at the finish because up high cheering on the women. Did you make it across the finish upright today?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't feeling it that hard aerobically today, but definitely feeling that left knee that took a rock.
I want to come back to Eli, but I've got some good Travis Longcar stats and analysis here in the chat that I'll read for our viewing audience here. He says Eli was running 5:44s from high point to the finish. Patrick was 5:54s. Andrew Douglas and Talon Hull were 5:40s. Talon moved from 17th to 12th from high camp to the finish. Talon not with us here today, but that's a heck of a rally from him. Eli, dude. You're on a heater this year, bro. I mean, early favorite in my mind for Trail Runner of the Year.
But also got the undefeated monkey off his back this week, too.
Started the season.
I lost that real good today. I lost that real good this week.
All right, so to recap for our audience, one dominated at Black Canyon 60K, dominated at the Big Alta 50K, dominated Desert Rats. Won, but wasn't quite domination. Danny Jones was on your tail at Canyons, which we'll talk about him a lot next week for sure.
Yeah.
Then you were 5th in the VK on Friday, 2nd here today. That's a season and a half, bro. How are you feeling about the first 6 months of 2024?
I'm stoked on it. The training's been going really well. I don't think we're at the peak shape yet, so I'm super excited going forward towards OCC. Because that's kind of been the focus all year. Kind of everything we've been doing has been leading up to that. And the races that I've had and the success that I've had has been super exciting.
And I feel like you and Patrick have demonstrated that you're kind of putting the world on notice. Patrick, the hat trick, basically. He's got the wins at Kobe, Four Sisters, and then here. Yourself with an incredible open to the season. You're both looking at some additional Golden Trail races, OCC for you. I think the short trail or sub-ultra, OCC's ultra, but the running world really should take notice that you guys are here to play.
Well, also Taber trolled you a little bit, I think, on Strava on Friday in her comment that said, kind of more of a 50K guy, huh?
The VK was kicking the pants for me too. It was surprising, just how fast everybody was running. I've been running up hills kind of hard, but definitely not anything near that. And so I think that was a real surprise, just how quickly everybody was going off that line. And so I think the training's been leaning towards 50K versus a VK. But
I was going to ask you about that, but you PR'd in the VK. Though. I mean, the course was a little bit different, but
yeah.
So did it feel that you didn't have that like high-end VK type sharpness because you've been focusing on the 50Ks?
Yeah, I felt pretty awful that whole day. I was holding on for dear life. I think Mika was coming by me. I was like, dude, my legs hurt right now. I feel bad. He's like, wow, you gave up early, dude.
Taylor Stack.
You also ran
First
steeplechase
and last name's
in
constant.
college.
Yeah, that was kind of my specialty, actually.
Okay.
I
Does
think.
Kim Hogarth still have the school record?
Yeah, he does, unfortunately.
I raced against him in college.
Yeah.
It was unfair. He was like a 35-year-old or like
Yeah.
from like the New Zealand Army or I think, and he came over and he was just crushing like 18-year-olds.
Yeah, he is a beast. It would have been cool to see that record go down, but I wasn't the guy.
For the record, 8:41 in the steeple is proper.
Thank you. Yeah,
All
I
right, so
appreciate
tell
it.
us about your goals and stuff, man, because, I mean, this clearly puts you on the map. It shows that you can go toe-to-toe with literally the best guys in the world. You're 25 years old. Obviously, you have this academic career, but this probably gives you some motivation to pursue running. What else is inspiring
Yeah,
you?
how can we sponsor him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed if anyone's watching. No. Yeah, it's just, I've been having a lot of fun with it over the past year and signing up for races, kind of got the bug again. And this is a huge confidence booster. And I wanted to come out here and prove to myself that I'm capable of running at this caliber. And I'm stoked with how it went today. I've got a few more races lined out for the summer, going to Snowbird Cirque Series next month is the next big one. So should be
Heck
fun.
yeah.
Travis put it on fantasy, bro. Cool. Well, yeah, good to meet you, man, and congratulations. Amazing performance today. Mika, maybe tell your fans where they can see you coming up the rest of the summer, assuming both your knees come out of this in one piece.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to be doing hopefully the U.S. Champs double, so uphill in Loon and then the up-down in Cirque, Snowbird. And then, yeah, if all goes well, I'll be in Europe in August, hopefully hitting some of the big Golden Trail races, Sierżanal and Tatra in Poland. Maybe ETC. I'll see how I'm feeling after those two. And then I'll definitely be at the American Golden Trails in September, so Headlands, and then Mammoth Trail Fest, a Tim Tollefson specialty.
I was going to say, I feel like, Taylor, if you want to come to Mammoth, I think we can figure it out.
Oh, we'll get you set up. That'll be an easy one. I actually sent you a request on Instagram, so I'm waiting to see if you'll be my friend.
Okay.
All right, hey, I just heard from the race director, the boss, Brendan Madigan, that you guys have to go to the ceremony, the prize ceremony, the podium presentation. So appreciate you guys coming to spend a little bit of time with us. Thanks for the entertainment out on the mountain today. Congratulations on those amazing top 5 performances for each of you. Big round of applause. Second place, fourth place, and fifth place today. Absent are Patrick Kipyego, who won both the VK and 23K. We couldn't get him to stick around today. And Philmon Kiriago finished third. We're going to talk about them here in a sec. Gentlemen, you can excuse yourselves. Thanks again for hanging out for a few minutes. Hopefully that podium presentation is fun. Sorry to miss out on it.
We'll be here.
Hopefully there's big checks with your names on it. That's actually something we should maybe close the show with, because and we could talk to Brendan about it. Big checks, big prize money. We haven't talked about it all weekend.
Yeah, we haven't.
No, we're getting Taylor
Brian's gonna-
to Mammoth for sure.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go quickly through the rest of the top 10. We'll just do our quick trifecta analysis. Then we're going to bring our friend Thomas on from Believe in the Run. Give us 5-10 more minutes. Cool. And then we'll close things on with Brendan. So, Ryan, are we good? Okay, we're in good position here. All right, so I'm going to just bang through women's top 10 in total. We'll add some more context there. We'll do the men, and then we'll bring Thomas on. So, Again, women's top 10. It was Joyce and Jeru, our double champion here this weekend, 2:11.52. Jade Belzberg only 37 seconds behind in second. Tabor Hemming in third, 2:13.31. Allie Mack, 2:14.53. Danny Moreno rounds out the top 5 on her birthday, 2:14.53. Rachel Tomasic, 2 great performances this weekend in 6th, 2:21.11. Sydney Peterson, 24 years old from Crested Butte in 7th place. She was 2:23.01. Abby Locke doubled back from the VK, 2:24.42. Sarah Carter in 9th, 2:26.29. And Carly Rempel in 10th, 2:30.38.
And special shout out to the mom, Amanda Basham. I think probably winning the Triple Crown there, finishing 13th today. The 100-mile phenom, really showing up for a 1, 2, 3 this weekend.
Yeah, a great weekend from Amanda. All right, so we've talked through Joyce, Jade, Taber. I mean, we haven't mentioned that much about Joyce. Ryan played a cool clip that I got of her, but dominating performances in both the VK and 23K. Anything else you guys want to say about her?
I'm her new biggest fan. I think that she's phenomenal. We had such a great time chatting with her after the VK. Her spirit is infectious. She, has opened her season super, super well with great performances in Japan and China on the Golden Trail World Series. And I can't wait to watch her continue. I love today that she said, I was closer to a 10 out of 10 effort compared to the VK. That I loved her talking about, looking back over her shoulder and seeing Tabor and thinking, oh, shoot, and having to find another gear out there. And I'm excited to see her come here and get pushed by the competition. And I'm more than excited to see these women continue to get to line up over the course of the next couple months.
Agreed. And I think Joyce, if you haven't watched that or listened to it, you should go to our first conversation with her. It was amazing. And she really highlighted how she's just really becoming an inspiration for young women in East Africa. And I think this is just going to further that storyline. And she's such a pleasure to have out here at these races and setting her up for an amazing season ahead. Yeah, so cool. If the race was 25Ks, though, Jade may have been all over her in the finishing shoot. So.
Yeah, but speaking of, we were talking a lot with Jade about altitude, and if I look at the women's top 10, we've got Kenya, San Luis Obispo, Colorado, Williams, Arizona, so not crazy high, and then Colorado.
And Mammoth, California.
And Mammoth. It's just very, very high throughout. And so showing up and really performing at altitude, arriving only on Thursday is a big deal.
We do have Travis in the chat, so Travis could probably crunch some numbers and do an analysis of the average altitude of the top 10 finishers, or at what altitude you need to reside in to give yourself a good chance to finish in the top 10 here at a race like Broken Arrow, similar to Tim's race, the Mammoth Trail Fest. So the men's top 10, unless there's other stories that you want to touch on?
I want to give a real quick shout out to 2 people. 11th place, Dana Stimpson is a Mammoth East Side local from Bishop, California. She was rocking a Trail Fest hat out there. That was an incredible performance for her. And then also Christine Lundy.
Dipsy champion.
Dipsy champion, 2:36, and she finished 16th overall at
53, I believe.
53 years old. Incredible performance by Chris.
Yeah, and then I would say, too, we talked a lot about times yesterday. Well, a little bit about times yesterday. We were wondering if Joyce would be the person to go under what we consider the course record. Sophia Lockley's 2:06. Joyce came out with a 2:11.52 today, so that record still stands, as opposed to the men's side, which we'll talk about here now.
Talk about in a sec. Before we get to
record.
One other person I just wanted to give a shout out to, Abby Locke, who finished in 8th place. She came in here into the studio yesterday. And I was like, so are you doing the 23K? Because I remembered her name from the VK, where I think she was also 8th. Anyway, from Cortez, Colorado, young, 27 years old. I said, are you going to do the 23K? She said, well, I'd kind of like to, but I'm not signed up. I went to our boy, Brennan Madigan. I said, hey, this is Abby Locke. She finished 8th in the VK. She's curious about the 23K. Can we sneak her in? Probably ruined a few fantasy ballots. But anyway, shout out to Abby Locke. A fantastic back-to-back weekend for her. 2 top 10s here against some of the world's best. The men's top 10, of course, Patrick Kipyego, like Joyce and Jeru, the double victor here this week, finishing in a course record time of 1:45.37, only a minute and a half behind Eli Hemming, 1:47 flat, sick fast. Philemon Cariago, 1:50.23. Taylor Stack, one of the stories of the weekend, 1:51.12. Meikael Beaudoin-Rousseau, 1:52.16. A new name to me, Hawk Call, 1:54.04 in 6th. Andrew Douglas in 7th. who Travis mentioned was ripping that final downhill, 154.28. Remy Leroux, the Canadian, also a great weekend here. I think he was 6th in the VK, 8th here today, 155.09. The young Sam Hendry, the Nordic skier we mentioned on our show yesterday, 9th place, 155.24, and our 10th place finisher rounding it out, Cade Meikael from Superior, Colorado, also only 25 years old, finishing in 155.30. So a few mystery names: Taylor Stack, Hawk Call, Andrew Douglas, Cade Meikael, all new names to me, and all like in their mid-20s.
It sounds like we have a fresh crop of random ballers that just like descended on the Broken Arrow 23K.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out too, again, we've got some new names, but also some folks that are mixing it up, coming from sea level. I do know that Mika's been in Boulder recently, kind of living there. But yeah, you've got Great Britain, you've got Remy from Quebec, who's I think really known as a VK specialist in that mix. So it's good to see that Talon running so well on the downhill. I don't think he's living in Seattle anymore, but is part of that Brooks team. So yeah, it's really curious to see a number of those guys mixing it up. I also want to just point out Jeshrin Small, who ended up finishing, I believe, 14th. Saw him at the top of the ladder section, and I said, hey, so you're more of an 80K guy, huh? Because he had such an amazing run at Transvolcania back in May. And he's like, yeah, this is feeling pretty hard right now.
Yeah. So one storyline is the people who double back from the VK. Our entire podium today did the VK. Of course, Micah did the VK in 5th. So Taylor did too, but he had a tough day. So at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sam did the VK. Remy did the VK.
So I think 5 of our top 10 finishers in the 23K were also top 10 finishers in the VK. So pretty cool to see the successful doubles from some of these great athletes. The final shout out I wanted to give was to all of our mutual friend, Patty O'Leary, who got a finish here today. You can tell us exactly where he was. Patty, who we all know and love, a community leader. He's from Ireland originally, but has lived in the Bay Area for about a decade. One of the kindest-hearted runners on the circuit. Just lost his dad a couple weeks ago, traveled back home to Ireland, and
it was good to see him here. I got to see him twice out there and give him pep talks, kind of give him a handhold for a second and remind him that we all love him a lot. And I think that he didn't have his best day out there, and you could definitely tell that he's like working through a lot of feelings, and it was just really good to see him out here as part of the community. He's on the advisory council for Broken Arrow as well, working on a lot of initiatives behind the scenes. So it was good to have Patty back here stateside after having to go home for his dad's funeral. But yeah, we gave him lots of love out on course.
One of the kindest humans out there, and it was wonderful to see him.
Amazing. We could go 20 deep in both the men's and women's races, but that'll conclude our analysis of what was an incredible professional race here at the Broken Arrow 23K. We're going to bring Thomas Neuberger up here from Believe in the Run. We're going to talk about some gear. Big round of applause for Thomas here from our studio audience. All right. Yes.
Can I sit next to you?
You may.
All right, I'm gonna sit.
Welcome.
I'm going to gas you up a little bit. I feel like there's two people at the top of the game. Road, you go Sidious or road and track. I can't believe I'm on a trail. I'm out of my depth on a trail show with Dylan Bowman and team, Tim Tollefson, and man, I'm a little starstruck here.
Oh, dude, the feeling's mutual. Believe in the Run. You guys are on the cutting edge, especially on the gear-related stuff.
Yeah, we don't need to perform. Yeah. We just need to tell you what shoes do perform.
Yeah,
so
well,
it works out.
I'm coaching one of your people, and Mr. Andrew Walker for the Infinite Trails. I did his Terrex race this fall, so I got to meet him about a little over probably 2 weeks ago now.
And you still like him?
And I still like him.
All right.
So he's doing the training, so that's a good first step.
Isn't that, I always wonder about coaches, like, what makes a good, student when you're coaching?
I always say that you can't be a passenger. Like, you have to be actively involved. No passenger princesses in coaching. I'm your sounding board. I'm in your corner. But I way prefer the athletes who are, inquisitive, have questions, have thoughts and opinions. I can tell them that I don't agree with them, but it's a team.
I figured you just want them to do what you tell them to do.
I'm not a good dictator.
Obedient. No,
yeah,
it's
obedient.
It's good to have an active
My
participant.
Yeah.
Yeah, skin in the game.
That's rad.
All right, so Thomas, you're new to the Freetrail audience here. I'm sure most people are familiar with Believe in the Run, but for those who aren't, explain a little bit about what you guys do and why you're here at Broken Arrow this weekend.
All right, so we're really gear focused, and we're always trying to figure out what shoe, what product, what thing is going to add like to your experience of running. So it's really about finding the right fit for runners so that they keep going out. Like, what's more exciting than strapping on a new pair of shoes and having a really good run?
Such a good feeling.
Right? So, like, you come to an event like this, and maybe you try a new shoe, or you do a demo run with Solomon or something, and you're like, oh, that shoe works for me. I'm going to try it out for the 11K, or some people are crazy doing the 46K. I heard somebody's doing like 3 loops of the...
Yeah, Jessie Diggins went out for a 3rd loop yesterday because she just needed a little bit more adventure time.
Like, we did this. We did the 11K. It's sick. It's enough for me. It gave me, I got the climb, I got the downhill, I got the woods. That was enough. Like, the people who are doing more, I'm just like, you're overachieving. I got everything you need to get out of this event in that 11K, but I don't know.
The altitude's a little higher here than Baltimore as well.
Okay, I'll tell you, I was a little scared. We came out on Friday, and we did a shakeout run, and it was 3 miles. I got shit on by a bird. Can I say the S word on the show?
Go
okay.
ahead, yeah. Very pro-profanity here on the Freetrail channel.
Excellent. I'll ramble off some more then. But we did the run, and my heart was beating out of my chest. Yeah. And then...
Is that because you saw Dylan?
Pretty much. I was a little fawning.
Dreamboat.
Yeah. I know. You're much... People, if you don't know, if you haven't seen him in person...
He's a tall
drink. Gorgeous, yeah. Anyway, so... And then the next day, we did another one, and I'm still... My heart... So I was like, when race day came, I was a little nervous. And we got out there, and I felt fine. It was so much fun. Like, this event, Brennan and Broken Arrow, they put on a hell of an event.
Yeah, so tell us why Believe in the Run came here, because, the way I associate you guys, I mean, you obviously do a lot of stuff on the trail side of product, mostly footwear, but I think typically you're going to more of like the road races and activating there. Is this the first time you guys have stepped into the trail category, and what makes you excited about it?
We don't do a ton with brands on the trail side. We've done a lot of trail running independently, but most of the time, we're working with road. Basically, we live in Baltimore, so we have trails near us. The Patapsco trails are fun. There's some other trails that are enjoyable to run out there. But for the most part, I'm one of those runners that likes popping out the door and going for a run, and there's enough road running shoes. But in the audience right now, we have Taylor Beaudoin, who's our lead trail reviewer. And so he's taken out a lot of the shoes, and we have a team of about 6 trail reviewers that take the shoes out. They really put them to the test, get it out there. And, even though this time we're out here with Solomon and we do other activations with other brands, we kind of keep that there's like an iron curtain in between reviews and event work that we do. So when we're reviewing a shoe, we never do paid reviews. You're never going to see we've actually turned down money to review shoes, and we said, no, we do the reviews for free because we're not going to show it to the brand before we do it. We're not going to, soften our language or anything like that. So we kind of keep that on one side, and then we do stuff like this where it's an event thing, like with Solomon. We come out, and we're just there to interact, with people that are here and kind of, be another way to show what's going on and maybe a new audience. Like you're dialed in. You've got all the trail people. They all know who Dylan Bowman is, Freetrail. You could say something, they're like, okay, and you're speaking into a channel that already knows what we're talking about. I think what we're here to do this weekend is maybe show people who aren't trail runners that it doesn't have to be a 50 miler, it doesn't have to be a 50K, it doesn't have to be a 100 miler. There's actually trail races that are accessible, and if you're not somebody who's their heart's pounding out their chest when they get out here, this is an event for you. This is a thing that you can come and do. And I have to tell you, this has blown me away. The access you have to pro athletes and people, the village is just it's like a bar almost. And you just are bumping into people like Tim Tollefson and, Patrick, who won the VK challenge. You just had Micah on, who I have to say, Sarah Hall, dropping into second place at the London Marathon was one of the most epic finishes I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Micah at the VK, I don't know, were you up there yesterday?
Yeah, but I was a little lower on the hill, so I didn't get to see it.
I witnessed the pass on the steps.
Dude, it was sick.
It was amazing.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And it was, you saw, I'm sorry, who came in third?
Christian Allen was fourth.
You saw his life get sucked out of him when Micah passed him.
And it went right into Micah, and
did.
it just surged to the finish line.
And
no offense to him.
I don't think Micah remembers any of that. I'm pretty sure he had completely blacked out by
I'm
that point.
surprised that Micah didn't finish with a mullet, and Christian Allen was hairless.
That would have been epic. I think when we get the AI stuff going, that's going to happen. Like, but that was incredible. And like, you just can't, like, you get to be right there in these trail events where you can't do that on the road event. Like, yeah, there's gates and you're, 25, 30 feet away from the athletes. This is like, I felt his breath as he ran by me, and I'm like, holy cow, this is something.
You're like, I could touch him right now.
I think they frown on that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to touch the athletes. But,
No touching the athletes. I did learn that this weekend.
There were signs that said no touching.
What are you doing with Solomon this weekend? Tell us about some of the cool products that you've seen from them, or any other brands, if you can talk about it.
A lot of their products are out already, so it's not like we're dropping new product for them, but we're running in the Genesis. Some of us ran the Pulsar, S-Lab Pulsar. Taylor did the VK Challenge and ran in that. Like, hell of impressed what he did. Came in like 45th place for just a guy who's like aerobics.
No big deal.
Shout out Taylor.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor.
Ow.
And he's depressed about it because he knows he could do better, but he wasn't like aerobically fit.
And it wasn't the footwear.
No, not the footwear. So we're here. We did that. We did like some activations with people that are here in the village to like do some shakeout runs for people that weren't even racing, that just wanted to hang out and do stuff like that. So it's just a way to like show our audience the trail scene.
Yeah. Awesome. I just put your guys' URL in the chat here on YouTube, so encourage our audience to go check out what you guys are doing. We have a fun theme here at Free Trail. We have a tagline, trail running will save the world. We also, tongue-in-cheek, use the hashtag better than Boston. The Olympic trials are going on right now in Eugene, so hashtag
Tim, what's your opinion on that one?
better than the trials.
Okay.
Trail running will save the world.
I have to say, this swept me up. Like,
Are you indoctrinated?
I wasn't as interested in the trials when I saw all this going on. Like, I'm immersed in it, and I loved it. Like, I've done trail running. Like, my favorite trail run, next to this, of course, was Trans Rockies. I've done it a couple times, and that's another one where you get to be with the athletes for a period of time. And I think, a lot of times we put athletes up. Like, if you look at you're never going to hang out with football players. You're never going to hang out with baseball players. When you get to rub elbows and crack a beer and you're standing next to people that are phenomenal athletes, like at that next level, it's a trip. But I don't know.
He's our new trail running evangelist.
Yeah.
I mean, you're around it. Like, you know it. You probably know everybody. This is like
come
going
on.
to...
I'm the chief evangelist. Do you guys have a team in Eugene right now covering that too?
No, we actually don't.
Whoa.
We know our zone. Our zone is really gear.
Yeah.
And Sidious does a great job covering track and field and, majors and stuff like that as far as athletes are concerned.
Yep.
You want to talk about gear, and we're staying next week for the Western States, and we're working with another brand other than Solomon to like kind of pimp up a shoe release.
You coming to TrailCon?
Is it before?
Wednesday. Come to TrailCon.
Are you not coming to TrailCon?
I don't know about TrailCon.
Trailconference.com.
What is TrailCon?
Oh, it's just the brand new industry conference to bring the trail running industry together.
Releasing all the
conversations.
prototype shoes from every single brand.
Okay, we're here, and I know Taylor would geek out on that. So, Taylor, are we going to TrailCon?
We have panels.
All right.
We're all on a panel, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about it later, but you're more than welcome to be here.
Awesome.
And I did hear that you guys were sticking around through Western States as well.
We kind of want to get in a raft in the Truckee River. I don't know.
You could do that.
That's inner tubing. You just go inner tube.
But a cooler, a beer,
It's
and
Lazy
some
River.
deli sandwiches.
It is Lazy River.
Yeah, go inner tube Tuesday, and then come to TrailCon on Wednesday,
right.
and then you can get into Western State stuff Thursday, Friday.
Now,
All
as
right.
gear junkies, what was the shoe count in the 11K? What brand breakdown?
All
Do you
right.
have this for every distance this weekend?
We don't count the shoes because we were actually out there, and I didn't come in first place, believe it or not. So I couldn't really see who had what at the finish line. But I did see. It was crazy. Young upstarts. You're familiar with Speedland. It was crazy how many Speedland shoes I saw out there. Like, I was like, wow. One shoe that I wanted to see more of that I didn't was Norda. I love that shoe. I think that's a great shoe. Saw a ton of Solomons. Saw a lot of Brooks. And a lot of people. And this is coming from a guy who loves road shoes. Come on, man. Put the road shoes aside. Go buy a trail shoe. I saw people out there with like Pegasus. And the descent was so gnarly and so slippery that they had to slow down a lot. If you'd had a little bit of lugs, a little bit of something to help slow you down,
Yeah.
that would have been great.
Taylor may be the right person to ask this question, but in general, like that trend of people wearing road shoes at trail races has decreased substantially because there's been so much advancement in trail shoe and product innovation. I don't know if that's something you guys have ever experienced or covered
Yeah,
on the
that's
website.
the exciting thing, I think, that we're starting to see. We saw it first. It kind of trickled down. So first you have your Vaporflies that ended up trickling technology and plates and foams into other brands, into the race day. And then you saw somewhat go into what we think called super trainers, where the race day technology kind of makes it down a sub-notch of race day shoe. And now we're seeing that race day technology from the road coming to the trail. So I know that we're seeing shoes with incredible foams. They're getting the, plates in them. We're playing around with different configurations of plates that might work better for trail than road. So it's kind of like the echo effect of what we've seen in the road running is coming to the trail. And events like this and running, it's only going to make it more exciting. And I think we're going to see some great product coming out from the companies. It seems like we're seeing this bubble of people coming into running in general. And I think, again, events like this are going to bring those people out.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll toot our own, my own horn, but the Graphic Speed Ultra was made for Western states.
Yep.
Like the shoe that we were able
We're
to put
talking
out.
about that at TrailCon.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So the Graphic Speed Ultra by Adidas Terex. So I'm one of their athletes, and we saw that shoe actually do pretty well today. We got a lot of podium spots out of that shoe.
And
all
that team is
weekend.
sick.
Right, and that shoe is sick, and that shoe, isn't necessarily designed for some of this terrain. It's designed for Western states, and
Well,
we're seeing
yeah.
it be successful though off of trails that are not quite as nice quote unquote as like the Western states trail, and that to me is exciting because it was designed for like that California
Not as technical.
fire road, not as technical, but Tony McCann won the 46K in it yesterday, so it's handling a lot more terrain, which I think is really cool.
Dude, how about On though this weekend?
On a heater.
On a heater. Double victories plus Jeff Mogavero.
Yep, and I think I think post Paris we're gonna see an On takeover.
Yeah, they've been
They
shredding
have a
it.
lot of athletes at the trials right now.
They seem to have a lot of money. Yeah. So,
On,
Must
if
be
you're,
nice.
if you're listening,
yeah.
hit us up.
I have to say, we're sending, again, to get more people into like trail running. The Adidas team is taking, we're having a guy from our team go out to Austria.
That's my guy.
And are you going to be there?
I'm his coach.
Alex Walker. Yeah, you've mentioned that. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's really
Wait,
cool.
did they
And we
get-
work
did
with
you-
a lot of like
wait,
Adidas run crews.
Okay, so Adidas hooked you guys up.
Yeah. So I'm coaching.
All right.
So myself and Eric LaPuma are each coaching 3 athletes. I'm coaching 4 because I've got Alex now, and we're coaching 7 athletes to send them to Infinite Trails. Not necessarily all from trail backgrounds. It's really, really exciting.
It's all coming together.
Now, I got a quick question. You experienced the 11K.
Mm-hmm.
You're the shoe junkie.
Mm-hmm.
Was your mind churning of like, oh, I really wish my shoe could do this right now out there? Were you making a checklist of this would be a complete banger if I could craft it together right now?
You tune things. It's more. Look, I think I could probably put together a pretty good shoe at this point. I've been doing this since 2009. I've run in pretty much every shoe since then. There's only a handful of people that I would say that, Brian Metzler, Jeff Dengate, that have run in as many shoes as we've run in.
Metzler's coming to TrailCon.
I love Metzler.
Come hang
All right.
out.
He does not sleep.
All right.
You could text him any time of the day.
We were in Italy with Metzler. Our paths cross. We like Metzler. So, when I'm out there, it's almost more like a diagnostic. Like, okay, this feels good. Okay, downhill, what's happening? Is my foot sliding forward? Is my toe going into the toe box too hard? Like, am I getting the padding under the front of my foot that I want? Would this have been better if maybe the jagged little rocks that were on this course, if I had had maybe some sort of plate or, just something to protect the foot underneath there? Maybe it's more stacked. So you are kind of doing that. And a lot of times also, like on this, it's the rubber compounds and coming down and seeing how it feels. Like that really steep drop after you made the summit, you're like, it's loose gravel. It's that.
I don't know if anything sticks well to like negative 40-degree slopes, to be honest.
Yeah, you're like kind of, but then that's when I start thinking, is my toe slamming against the front? Like, how's the fit? That kind of thing.
Wow. So there's an incredible, just like scientific study going on in your head while you're running.
I wouldn't call it
Have you ever been in the
scientific.
flow?
Yeah, I've been in the flow.
Okay.
That's when I know the shoe is really good. Like, if you forget about a shoe, then you're like, oh.
It's just an extension of your foot.
That's what I love. And that's actually, like, one of my all-time favorite shoes was the Nike Lunar Epic. And I love the high booty on it because it just molded. You just felt like the outsole was stuck to the bottom of your foot. So you forgot that you were wearing a shoe, and as you were going, it just felt like you had really good traction on bare feet, like almost. It was like really good. And I'm hoping that high booty that we're seeing becomes sort of a trend in trail running, because I think it serves two purposes. One, it really dials in the fit, and two, it keeps the debris out.
Yep, the built-in gaiter.
Yeah.
I was running in that Speedland Proto today that's got that built in too. Well, amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats
thanks for having me on. This is a highlight.
Yeah, congrats on your awesome
Take
run.
note, Chris Chavez.
BelieveInTheRun.com.
Yeah, that's real simple.
It must be a really fun time to be doing what you're doing. I mean, there's so
It
much
is.
product innovation, both in the road and in the trail, and obviously, like, you know, the running community is the best in the world.
Yeah,
whether,
people
no
like
matter
you
how
guys
you
are
enjoy
here.
it.
Like
So-
I was telling someone last night, we were eating dinner, and I was like, look around you. These are the people that when we're like old, because I'm already a little old, but when you're old, like you're going to look back and be like, these are my contemporaries. These are the people that went through this period of time with me. This is like when I go back, I'm going to be like Chris Chavez, Dylan Bowman.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know, those are the
Doesn't it
people.
almost feel like it's like our little version of Silicon Valley in the outdoor running world?
Yeah.
Like it's the closest you read about, you hear those stories about like, you know, starting things in your garage, and it's like, this is our moment.
Wait, who was the guy who rented the house
Wasn't
in
it?
Silicon Valley? Oh, you're actually, I'm thinking the TV show. You're
Oh,
thinking
see-
the actual.
See, I'm older than you. I don't watch TV.
You can't be older than me, man. All right, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
This was
thanks
awesome.
for coming, Thomas. BelieveInTheRun.com. I know you're sticking around through Western States, so I'm sure we'll see you around the village, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll catch up.
TrailCon.
Yeah, come to TrailCon.
All right,
Trailconference.com.
TrailCon it is. Wednesday.
Free registration.
All right.
We would love to have you guys there.
That's rad.
We will have a media panel too, so there'll be at least some like hyper relevant material for you. So.
Excellent. Well, you guys are killing it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Big round of applause.
All right.
Thomas Neuberger, Believe in the Run. We are awaiting race director Brendan Madigan to come in studio here. We will close it down with him. While we wait, I was thinking we could just bang through a couple fun like storylines from the weekend, things that stuck out in our minds. Just to get us started, just to call back to Friday. One thing that our audience can remember, Anna Gibson, second place in the VK. She is going to be at the starting line in Eugene on Tuesday for the prelims of the 1,500 meter. Am I saying
believe it's
that right?
Thursday.
She said- I think she said
Thursdays are
Tuesday.
prelim.
No, Thursday's prelim. She's still
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
I already gave her a hug today. She's on her way to Bend, and then
Oh,
she's got to go to Eugene.
Yeah, okay.
And then she races the first day. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Sunday if she makes the finals. We're going to make the finals weeks. I'm that invested in it. But then kind of actually fun side tangent. I do believe that Lauren Gregory, another trail gal, I think was the last woman to make the women's 5,000 meter final.
Wow.
I think she snuck in on time.
That's incredible.
So I think like she's part of like kind of the not Northwoods. What is the Northeast trail track group called? It's like Ben True, Dan Kurtz, Eric LaPuma. Are you in the chat? Correct me.
Yeah. Backwoods boys.
Something. But Lauren Gregory trains with that crew, and she did, I believe, sneak in to the 5,000
Which is
meter
no
final.
small feat.
So, giving the trail folks some love that are over at trials, because that is a big deal. But I literally last night at our mansion of a team house ate dinner on the couch so that I could watch the men's 1,500 meter semis and then watch the women's 100 meter finals. This is like the best 10 days of my life. I get Broken Arrow, I get track trials, I get Western States. I'm going to be a shell of a human next week.
But hashtag better than the trials. Hashtag trail running will save the world. But an amazing storyline just from race weekend that people can look ahead and watch next weekend. The bro shred of the weekend, Jeff McGavero, Adam Peterman finishing second and third in the 46K. A feel-good, sentimental conversation here on the panel yesterday.
Yeah, I love that they were like, they're so competitive, and at the same time, it's like, well, he's doing well. Like, that's so exciting. Like, it reminds me, throwing it to trials again, men's 1,500 meter yesterday, there's this beautiful moment of these two college boys looking at...
We're
like,
best friends now.
Yeah, realizing that like the two of them had made it to the final, and that felt like the Adam Peterman, Jeff McGavero storyline of like them both just absolutely shredding it. They'll both be around through Western States. Again, I wore a shirt earlier this week that said...
I was about to say that. I was
said
going to say, what did your shirt say?
Trail running is a team sport, and it's so cool to see. Like Jeff was like, well, maybe I won't be racing this race next year because hopefully I am racing Western States, but he is sticking around because he is pacing Jeff Colt, one of his teammates. And Adam Peterman's going to be around. I just love Danny's going to be pacing Ingvild. Tony's going to be pacing Ingvild. It's just like the Hemmings are crewing Western States. Like it is a team sport, and like we saw that during the races out there of like people being excited for each other, but then we're going to see that like play out this whole week, and I'm giddy.
That's what I love about something like Broken Arrow right before the most historic, oldest 100-mile trail race in the world is we're celebrating the short sub-ultra discipline, giving people not only an opportunity to experience the trail world if they're new, but celebrate some of the best short course athletes in the world. And then 7 days later, we get to celebrate some of the best 100-mile runners in the world. It's like that barbell effect where we get both ends. Variety is the spice of life. I think it's just an amazing celebration of trail running in general.
Speaking of celebrations, I don't know if you guys saw the video of the final finisher yesterday, finishing in 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 55 seconds.
I heard it.
And I was not there for it, and because I was watching track trials, and I was in tears watching it because they lined the finishing chute for this guy as he made his way in, and it was just like, yesterday was a hard day. It was so hot. We saw a lot of attrition in the 46K, and to watch this guy come in just under the 12-hour cutoff with so many people out there cheering him in, just feel good story after feel good story this weekend.
So good. Question in the chat about Chad Hall. He and Grayson Murphy were sort of the two noticeably absent athletes. Even without them, holy smokes, Broken Arrow. Say a few words about what this has become, Tim. I mean,
it's incredible. I mean, I was here in 2016 for the inaugural year.
Oh yeah, give us
so that was
I was here 2017.
8 years ago, and it was still we'll call it a loaded field, but it was a two-man race between Dakota Jones and myself, and he got the better of me. But in just short 8 years, the depth of this field is just mind-blowing. It's insane, and the reach from all over the country. Several countries outside the U.S. It's really a testament to what Brennan and the team have been building. And as we started TrailFest, we had this working theory, kind of a hypothesis that I think the gateway distance, if we will, for people into the trail community is the sub-ultra. And Brennan and the team have done a fantastic job of adding things, not only the 23K, the 11K, the shorter stuff. And I think that's something that for those trail curious out there that hear these stories about how trail running will save the world, they can see this as an approachable distance, they get it stoked, and they come out and do it. And this is just proof of that concept, and I love it.
Yeah, the new 18K this year. I mean, I remember in 2017, I came out and course marshaled. I ran the VK and then came out and course marshaled the 23K/46K because then it was just a Friday, Saturday event. It was the VK on Friday, and it was the 23K and 46K. I was marshaling the ladder, trying to keep the 46K guys that were lapping through, who were catching the 23K like mid and back of the pack, and we were like organizing how we could get them through the ladder. I messed up. I probably ruined Pat Parcell's race because I was like, we got to get this woman up the ladder and then Pat can go. But it's really cool to see it expand. And we heard from a lot of the athletes at the front of the field this weekend who said, I PR'd by 2 minutes in the VK and I finished 5 spots worse or 10 spots worse. Or you also, I got to meet Priscilla Rojas last night, who is on the advisory council, who is connected in the San Diego community, is a run club leader, getting a lot of people that are brand new to the trail out here. They had spots in the 18K. Every spot they were giving in the 18K, every single one of their athletes finished the 18K on Friday, which is just really, I'm blown away. And I just think that Brendan and Ethan and team here are just going, I don't want to say above and beyond, because I keep referencing that it's not really going above and beyond. It's doing the bare minimum that we all should be doing at these events. And they don't want to be applauded for it. They don't want the kudos for it. Brendan's like, well, this is just how it should be done. Oh. And I really, really respect that. And so, we're continuing to evolve year over year. Everyone, we've all made mistakes, but I think it's really cool to see this race evolve from the elite side, from the mid-pack, from the back of the pack, from the events that are going on. Tim led like 3 or 4 pole running clinics, I'm pretty sure.
I slung some poles.
He slung some poles.
I think I made Brendan quite a bit of money.
Made Lucky quite a bit of money. Yeah, I met several of your pole lesson students post lesson yesterday, and they were going over to Lecky to pick up some poles. So yeah, it truly is. We had Jesse Diggins slinging pancakes in the Kodiak tent. Like, what a weird, wild, cool sport.
People are out there ripping and gripping while roasting and toasting.
Yes. Ripping, clipping, roasting, and toasting. So we've talked about how this is a great entry-level trail event where there are several different distances where you can stick your toe in the water. On the other side of that, there's psychotic stuff like the Iron Face Challenge, and also we talked about Amanda Basham, triple crown runner. We got to also give shout out to Cam Smith
and JP Giblin
on the men's side. JP Giblin also
looking like he was having more fun than anyone I saw out there today.
He when he passed me at high camp, he was running I think just behind Jade Belzberg, and he just said best sport in the world.
Yeah, no, he was chasing Danny. He chased Danny into the aid station,
was, yeah.
and he was like, "She's amazing!" Like we're like, "Yeah, JP, yeah, Danny," and he was like, "Danny!" Like he was hyping up. He was hyping up all of us to hype up Danny. Like it was just best sport in the world.
So for our viewers, the Triple Crown is the VK, 46K, 23K on three consecutive days. And this year, obviously, just like every year, there's a lot of people who, go straight to the deep end when there's a lot of people who are out there enjoying their first trail race ever. There's also some people who are getting very little sleep and who are going to enter their work week tomorrow feeling pretty sore.
They're going to be limping through that front door, barely making it into their cubicle.
So we're still waiting on Brendan here. Any other takeaways, storylines, fun things that you guys are going to remember from the 2024 Broken Arrow?
Just piggybacking on what you were talking about, just in general of indoctrinating people to the trail culture, something that I've seen here at Palisades is something we've experienced at Mammoth that I think is really cool and not talked about in that these are ski areas and resorts that have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, very ingrained in the culture of ski, and the employees and the people that live in these mountain towns are getting exposed to the trail culture. And I've heard so many stories from those people about how cool this community is, and they're almost shocked. But it's neat to see these old kind of, ski bums and guards be exposed to a totally new discipline, get stoked on it. They see this as like a recreation opportunity outside of the 4 to 6 months of snow each year. And I think it's really cool to see that collaborative effect. And Brendan's done a great job with the people here at Palisades to accomplish that. And I think that's probably going to be a big thing moving forward, where we're going to have more and more events that start being kind of on that caliber of a European style, experience when we have a collaborative work from everybody in the community.
Yeah, and I think that was really brought home for me yesterday listening to Lindsay Allison in the press conference. Lindsay Allison, who lives in Telluride now, but grew up in the Bay Area, grew up as an alpine skier here at Palisades. And so for her, it's been this kind of full circle moment to come back to this race year over year and be in a place where she spent so much of her childhood and being on this mountain in a completely different
she mentioned
sport.
I normally am Shirley Canyon and it's covered in snow.
Yeah, so I think it's really cool that we're utilizing these venues in a very multi-season way, and we're interacting with different pieces and parts of the community that might not be indoctrined yet by the trail evangelists into the sport of trail and ultra running.
Okay, well, again, we're still waiting on Brendan. We would love if he could join, but while we are just sort of filling some time here, let's fill everybody in on what we're going to be doing next week. Because this is going to bleed straight into Western States Week.
Oh my goodness.
Western States Week starts tomorrow, guys. Can you freaking believe it? Thank you from our studio
going
audience
crazy,
here.
the live studio audience.
All right, so we launched straight into Freetrail's coverage of the Western States 100 starting tomorrow at 3 p.m. We're going to be going live here on this YouTube channel throughout Western States Race Week. Tomorrow we're going to start things out with the top 10 storylines of the 2024 Western States 100. We had to narrow it down to 10. There are so many fun and amazing things that we're going to talk through on Monday. We'll be broadcasting from the coffee bar right here in the heart of Olympic Valley. On Tuesday, we're going to have John Trent, the author of Second Sunrise, the unofficial historian of the Western States 100, who will share some great stories from the history of the race. We're also going to have Callie Vinson, Scott Trayer, I think, are joining us on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be our official Western States preview show. We got to carve out at least 2 hours for that one.
That's going to be nuts.
That's going to be at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and then in the afternoon Wednesday, we're going to be doing TrailCon. One thing that's important to mention is we will not have a live stream of TrailCon this year. We couldn't pull it together, but we will be recording all the audio from the panels, which we'll publish in the Freetrail podcast feed at some point. Likely not Western States Week, probably the week after. So keep your eyes out for that. We're really excited for TrailCon. We really hope it's positive and impactful for the community. Both Corrine and Tim are going to be panelists. Corrine on the media panel, Tim on the events panel. So I don't know if there's anything you guys want to say about that before we talk about Thursday.
I don't know. I feel like we get a bonus of having Tim join us for much of this, and it's because he's got the wait list up. Many of you are probably aware that Tim is part of Weight Watchers, i.e. the wait list watchers of Western States.
Actually, I do have something to say about that if I can give a quick plug.
Yeah, it's all you.
So Weight Watchers has decided to sponsor a free crab feed on Thursday night before Western States for only entrants of the race. So if you come on down to at about 6 p.m. on the sun deck, we're going to have just a cooler full of crab that's been out there for about 16 hours. And
shrimp too.
Have at it. You get as much as you want, and then we just, we want to give you the best chance of being successful, and this is the least we can do for you, just to say like we're here with you.
Totally. That there's no ulterior
Weight
motive
Watchers
there at
crab
all.
feed Thursday night, sun deck.
Monster.
All right. So TrailCon, and then Thursday we close out Freetrail's pre-race coverage of Western States with our fantasy prediction show. We're going to have some Dominic Grossman and Andy Pearson from Between Two Pines are going to join us.
I don't know who allowed that to happen.
We've got a fun, unofficial fantasy challenge for the top podcaster in Western States this year. It's a hot competition between Rachel Drake, Leah Yingling, Dom Grossman, Andy Pearson, and of course our boy Ryan Thrower, who's going to be taking the start line.
I'm picking a lady.
Oh yeah, it's Rachel or Leah for sure. We can rank vote choice that one, I think. I think, and the other thing too on Thursday, obviously outside of TrailCon, but there's a number of panels going on that day that you and I are responsible for. So that includes the men's elite panel, the women's elite panel, kind of sharing some other stories from the field that I think will be really cool, including kind of like the formal introduction to Western States from yourself and some other very important board members, including the president of the board and the race director himself, I believe. So really, if you are sick of us now, I'm so sorry. You're definitely going to be sick of us a week from now, but I do see a sun hat running in here.
Yes!
Mr. Race Director himself.
The legend!
All right. Our guy, have a seat here.
I know you were hot and sweaty out in the sun. The lights in here are not going to help with that. I'm so sorry.
You look a little fatigued. Have you been doing something this weekend?
It's all right. I'm sitting next to Tim Tollefson.
Yeah.
No one says that about me, Tim.
Okay. All right. By way of introduction, he will need none. The great race director, the steward of the Broken Arrow Skyrace, putting together one for the ages, also the owner and steward of Alpenglow Sports, a great specialty retail shop here in the Lake Tahoe area. Mr. Brendan Madigan, welcome to Trailgating, buddy.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Your voice sounds a little husky. How you feeling?
Well, last year I lost it completely, and this year was close, so I just couldn't talk for, most of the morning until I could get the races started, and then we were good. Honestly,
being out on course this year was dangerous because normally you and I are protected by being in the studio. Being out there and getting to physically yell at people, I was like, oh, this is actually really bad for the week of talking we have ahead of us.
It's brutal.
We were just talking about some of our favorite moments from race weekend. Do you want to share any of yours?
Man, I mean, it's probably, my brain is a little bit of a mess right now, but I think the beauty of Broken Arrow is, kind of our collective effort. We have this amazing internal team that works on the event for 362 days a year. I know Tim can relate to that. Putting on an event is not for the faint of heart, and putting on a big event is a lot of work. So we have this beautiful team, and everyone just gets in line with the mission of creating a landscape for people to come and just throttle themselves and challenge themselves, and it's the best thing. I think you get one life, man. You better burn it out and do something worthy.
How many people this year? How many runners?
I think it's pushing 3,000, but I think the final numbers won't be in until we get race day reg.
It must be the biggest race by participation in North America.
I think the Rudd is still bigger. Mike Foote is still the champ.
Yeah, shout out Mike Foote.
Shout out Mike Foote.
You got to be knocking on that door, though.
Yeah, I think for us, we have some course constraints where, sure, we could have. I mean, we had 1,000 people on our wait list for the 23K, and
Is that right?
Oh yeah, I think we had as many people on the wait list or more than actually registered. So,
but I think the addition of like the 18K was pretty massive this year as far as like allowing for the expansion of the event. And the 18K was burly.
It's stiff. I think people saw 18K and jumped in, and we destroyed some people yesterday or Friday. But like, yeah, I mean, I think we want to preserve the on-course experience. We've always wanted to be an event that celebrates runners of all types, is big or medium, whatever you want to call us, but at the same time doesn't lose that hometown feel. You know, I know, you know, Tim can relate to that with Trail Fest, and Dylan, you can with Gorge, and I think that's the beauty of indie races, is you can be medium-sized and really make differences in people's lives. And
whether you're first or last, you're a rock star. The runners that were finishing first, unbelievable this year. Last night we were just talking about the nail biter finish right against the cutoff in the 46K. Rock stars galore, man.
Oh, it's so rad. I mean, like, you know, from the global draw to, which I'm really psyched that the Americans did so well, even in that global field. You know, it really says a lot for where, you know, our crew is going in that sense. But yeah, that's the most fulfilling thing. Like, someone comes over the finish line, like Patty O'Leary, who just lost his father. I get to greet them, hug it out, or some random stranger who's gone through some other life hurdle. You know, that's the commonality that we share as humans.
Okay, so one thing that we have to address, no live stream this year. People have been asking us about it on YouTube throughout the weekend. And I think everybody would love to hear the reality of trying to put that together. You talked about wanting to preserve the experience from people. Obviously, the live stream does take a lot of investment and resources. And oftentimes, you know, if you can't fund it the right way, you'd have to pull resource and therefore maybe not preserve the experience of all the runners. Anyway, opening up that conversation to you.
Yeah, it's a great, timely question. And I think for us, at the end of the day, it comes down to, you know, wanting to continue a live stream that we thought punched in the class of UTMB and Golden Trail. But that comes with a very hefty price tag, and it was unfortunate for us that we couldn't convince partners to fully see the vision. You know, both of you have been so instrumental in the build from the ground up, and we always wanted to be that independent, you know, organization that could pull it off. But we wanted to pull it off in our way, with our vision, and we want a television grade, high-end, high-tech broadcast that a non-runner can be totally tuned into and gripped watching. And until we can really find the funding for that, I think we focus on the task at hand and keep doing us how we do it. So
Well
if there's
said.
sponsors out there, like, holler at me.
Tell me this. I mean, I'd love to hear you talk about the prize money, because you probably have one of, if not the largest prize purses, is probably between Broken Arrow and Run Rabbit at this point.
Yeah, but you got to remember, this is a sub
I know.
ultra weekend, and that I think is mission critical too.
My point is that to fund the broadcast, you could have taken money from other places, including what you're compensating the professionals with, right? This weekend. So it is a balance of, you know, where are you spending the resources? How do you preserve the experience of every runner while also bringing this race to a global audience?
Yep. No, it's a really fair point. And, you know, my wife reminds me of that prize purse all the time because our roof still leaks. And so, but I mean, look, like our whole mechanism is to make a difference for people and hopefully use our platform to move the needle in the sport. If we can do that with prize money, if we can do that with experience, then great, you know, and if we can do it in other ways in the future, we'll do that too. But the reality with live streaming, and I think a lot of people don't want to just say this out loud, is the tech is not there. Like, you can put something on, it's just not a television grade broadcast yet. And if you want to get close, man, people would fall out of their chairs if we told them how much.
Well, you guys have literally run cables up the mountain before to make it happen. So it's like people, you know, we're over here being like, we got Starlinks, we got a Terra deck, sick. But it's like you guys have literally run cable up the mountain
Yep.
in order to put it on, which I think is like kind of very, very next level and is likely very underappreciated.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to the time in the sport where everyone expects a live stream, but doesn't necessarily understand what goes into it from an operational standpoint. I mean, I think last year we had a media team of almost 50 people between, you two, drone pilots, follow cam people. Like, it's no small feat. And so, yeah, it's like we want to do it, but we want to do it our way.
And I really applaud you guys for making those hard decisions where, as you said from the onset, the goal is to give every runner an experience from the first to the very last. So you're celebrating those last people to make sure their experience is preserved. And you're also compensating the elites that they're trying to make a living out of this. Mm-hmm. And I know as a aspiring or, as an elite throughout most of my career,
aspiring, bro. You were on the podium all the time.
But getting $100, $500, a massive payday like this one, that's life-changing for these kids as they're starting to try and make a career out of it. And so I really applaud you guys for continuing to invest in the sport from the front to the very back, because each person is being rewarded from your guys' hard efforts.
Particularly when you've got like some breakouts that are happening here, like Taylor Stack today, who it's like, that like having some prize money on the line is a big deal. That's what we yelled at him when he was going over the hype, like above the ladder, over the hype. We're like, dude, like you're in the money. Like, let's go.
Pay off your student loans.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, this is going to pay for him to get to another race. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I feel like that's, we've built a platform through a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment, and we have a responsibility. That's the rad thing about Broken Arrow. Yeah, we're on the Golden Trail domestic series and the World Mountain Running Association World Cup, but like, it's a proving grounds for American elites in particular, and I love it when I don't know who Taylor Stack is. I don't have a clue.
We didn't know either. Now
he
we do.
Literally sat with us.
A random baller that is
a
future stud.
Yeah,
it's 60,000 total in prize money, right?
Yep, 60,000 between the VK, the 23, and the 46, and I'd be remiss to not say that a lot of mid to back of the packers who we love to celebrate. I mean, I love the elites, but I love the average person's story even more.
Oh yeah, we all do.
I just think it's so magical and relatable. But like, I want, those elites to show up and prove themselves, and I want those mid to back of the packers to have like literally the day of their life, or one of the days of their lives.
So circling back to the live stream, just briefly, I just want our audience to know, obviously we tried to do our best as an alternative of the live stream here over the last 3 days. We also had some great press conferences led by our boy, Zach Marion, who's in the audience here. Those are, if not up on the Broken Arrow YouTube channel now, they will be. Scott Rokas, who's been sort of the head media guy for as long as I've been involved with Broken Arrow, is putting together highlight videos from at least the VK, 46K, 23K. Those will be live on the Broken Arrow YouTube channel, I would say hopefully within the next week or so in my conversations with Scott. So without a live stream, there's still going to be plenty of content to keep you inspired and encourage you to come to Broken Arrow 2025.
With very committed camera runners, might I add. I got to interact with a bunch of them out there today, and I know that one of the guys put in 22 miles yesterday, running back and forth with the gimbal. So it's like you've got some, even without a broadcast production coming out of it live, post-production wise, you've got a lot. Scott's got a lot of footage to work with.
Yeah.
All right, so let's briefly chat about TrailCon.
What is that?
You get 2 days.
What are we doing?
You get 2 days rest,
and
then we get to put a conference on together.
Homie, I get no days rest, but
what a glutton.
Tim knows, like, this is the awful side of things.
Brennan mentioned there's 362 days of work, and day one starts tomorrow. Well, it starts today, but it doesn't end.
No, the loadout
and the cleanup and the loadout's the worst part.
The worst, man. But luckily, we got a big, muscly crew, and it's all good. But I'm pumped on TrailCon. I mean, I get to work with like people I completely hold in high regard, and I think it's a timely point in the trajectory of our sport, and like we got to talk.
Yeah. We have 331 people registered as of
Sick.
And we just registered Taylor and Thomas, so we've got 336.
During the show, I got the Believe in the Run guys to come.
Oh, nice.
Taylor said it's already on my calendar. He's like, I don't know what Thomas thinks.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's going to be great. And for our viewers, Brendan and I and Doug Emsley are working together to bring TrailCom to life, which will be Wednesday from about 2:30 to 7. It will not be live streamed. We will eventually release all the audio from those conversations, like I said earlier, in the broadcast, but very much looking forward to that. And thanks for your collaboration and trying to bring this to life in year one.
These guys too.
Any closing comments, people on your team that you want to shout out, runners who, touched your heart this weekend before we wind things down?
I think my finish line hug with Patty was like top shelf for me.
I'm going to cry.
Patty is just like a beautiful person, so giving, so wonderful, and like he was supposed to race the VK but sat it out because he had traveled back from Ireland after losing his father. And that's that kind of stuff that, like, when you start a race, I mean, I had no clue. I was just some, 30-something running up on the crest and found this old ladder and was like, sick, let's put on a race here. And you don't even think the downstream consequences of that. And, I mean, I can't tell you how many people, come up and are just so complimentary, and it validates all the hard work. But when people say stuff like, oh, you're the Tim Tollefson? Like, you guys are celebrities, but for me, I'm like, that's weird.
This whole week makes the rest of my year. Because we get to interact with people here, people who see the work that we're doing the other days of the year where it feels like we're banging our heads against walls. And so, like, being here, being at Broken Arrow with the community you've created, that you've nurtured here, and then this whole week, like, truly makes the whole rest of my year worth it. Sweet. So I'm so happy to get to kick off like the best week of my life with Broken Arrow every June.
Yeah, I'm so happy you feel that way because you're such a big part of it and a big part of the sport. And I tell people this at Alpenglow, right? Like, we'll hit the skin track at 4:30 in the morning, bang out a bunch of vert before work, talk about it when we're doing it, go to work, talk about doing it more. It's like, and this is the same thing. It's the greatest job in the world.
Yeah, it's such a privilege. And on behalf of the literally thousands of runners that are out there and may not reach out, thank you for all the hard work, and to the entire team at Broken Arrow and everyone that makes this possible, because it is no small effort. And I mean, you guys, started 8 years ago, 2016.
16, yeah.
Yeah, it's come so far, and it's just on its upward trajectory. And yeah, thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Tim came and crushed in 2016, and I remember, which I'm sure you guys can relate to, like, we did an absolutely horrid job of course marking in year one, and Andy's driving the truck down, throwing out flags as Tim's coming down the second laps. Like, man,
I'm like, you sure that's where it is, Andy?
Yeah, geez.
Well, no, and I remember being a course marshal on the ladder in 2017. Being like, I just messed up Pat Parcells' day because like we had to be careful with how many people we had on the ladder at once, and we were like trying to get the 46K guys that were lapping through around the 23 back of the pack, and it was hectic and crazy, and like it all somehow worked out. It was like, I don't know, just watching the evolution of this race year over year, getting to have been a small part of it in different ways, is truly magical.
Truly one of the best races in the world, dude. And it gets better every year.
Yeah.
So,
well, like Tim said, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
This is a fun compliment circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it going. We don't have to wrap up. We can just keep stoking the stoke.
Should we hug it out?
Yeah. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff to get to, but on behalf of Corrine, Tim, and I, thanks for letting us do our thing around your race this weekend.
Always welcome and always great. So we're
super fun. Good luck with the loadout. I know you've got a lot to do before then, but...
good luck with TrailCon, bro.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway, a big round of applause for the race director, Mr. Brendan Madigan. And what a perfect way to end it, huh? 3 days of great broadcasting here and saving the best for last, the leader of the whole festival that we've been able to enjoy this weekend. Any closing comments from Corrine or Tim before we wind down?
We got to go take a nap so we can get ready for the rest of the next, 7 days.
Yep. All right. So that concludes our coverage of the 2024 Broken Arrow Skyrace. You got to come next year, 2025. When does registration open?
It's usually the Monday after States Lottery. so we can like pick up on the heartbreak and give them something special.
Okay, so December. Keep your eye open, and we would hope to see you here in Olympic Valley, California in June of 2025. What an amazing weekend. So many great stories. So fun to share it with Corrine and Tim. We get to do this again starting tomorrow for another race, which is going to be amazing.
I can't wait.
Heck yes. Brendan Madigan, Tim Tollefson, Corrine Malcolm. I'm Debo. Behind the cameras, our boy Ryan Thrower, who's pinning a bib on at the Western States 100 next weekend. Big shout out to Ryan. Big round of applause for Ryan. Harmony Bowman also, who's the key to bringing all these shows together and organizing everything. Big team.
Gotta like and subscribe, though.
Oh, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for sticking all the way to the end. Thanks to Corrine for reminding me. Subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. We're going to be going live again tomorrow, 3 p.m. right here to kick off Western States Week. What a great Broken Arrow. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.